Welcome students for General Principles and Process of Isolation of Elements Part 7. In this video, we shall be studying about extraction of copper metal. Let's revise various metallurgical processes involved in the isolation of metal. The first step, concentration of an ore, which can be done by hydraulic washing, magnetic separation, forced flotation and leaching process, whereas extraction of the metals, it can be done, first step, conversion of concentrated ore to metallic oxide by means of roasting and the calcination, followed by reduction of metallic oxide to free metal by using three methods, that is hydrometallurgy, pyrometallurgy and electrometallurgy. And the next step is the refining of the extracted metal by using distillation process, liquefaction, electrolytic refining method, pooling method, zone refining, vapor phase refining and chromatography. In this way, we can isolate the pure metal from their respective ores. Let's continue with the extraction of copper metal. Let's understand various uses of copper metal in the manufacture of various electrical equipments, manufacture of vessels, and even students manufacture of ornaments. Let's study various minerals and ores of copper. The first one is the copper pyrites, malachite, azurite, cuprite and copper glans. Among all the five minerals of the copper pyrites is the ore of the copper metal, because copper can be extracted economically and conveniently by using copper pyrite ores. Now let's continue with the extraction of copper from the copper pyrite ore. The first step, students, as you know, concentration of the ore. In this case, we are using fourth flotation process, and the reason behind it is copper pyrite is a sulfide ore. Already students, about fourth flotation process in detail, it has been explained to you in the previous video. In this case, the copper pyrite, which is preferentially wetted by means of the oil, that is the pine oil. As a result, it is extracted in the fourth, whereas the gangue particles are wetted by water and they settle at the bottom of the container. As a result, the fourth can be collected, and from that very easily the concentration of the ore can be done. Moving to the next one, that is step second, extraction of copper. In this case, first step is the conversion of concentrated ore into its oxide form, and for this student we are using roasting method. Why? Because it is a sulfide ore. When copper pyrite has been oxidized, then the formation of cuprous sulfide along with ferrous sulfide and liberation of SO2 vapors, that is sulfur dioxide, occurs. And in this process, students, arsenic and antimony, both the impurities are very easily removed because they form the volatile oxide. Thus student, copper pyrite ore has been converted into cuprous sulfide and ferrous sulfide. And the second step in the extraction process is a reduction of oxides into metal, which is done by pyrometallurgy by using smelting process. In this case, roasted ore is combined with the coke, that is carbon, along with sand, that is SiO2. Ferrous sulfide is oxidized to form ferrous oxide along with sulfur dioxide vapors. Further, ferrous oxide, which is a basic impurity, combines with the silica, that is SiO2. It is an acidic flux to form a slag material, that is ferrous silicate FeSiO3. In this way student, the iron impurity, which can be very easily removed. The molten metal, which is present at the bottom of the reaction vessel, whereas the slag material, that is FeSiO3, would be formed at the top layer. In this case, sulfides of cuprous, ferrous, coke and sand, they act as the copper matter. In the third step, mesmerization is carried out. In this students, copper matter is transferred into the Bessemer converter, in which blast of air is blown in. In the diagram, you can observe the copper matter which is initially fed in this converter, and the first diagram shows you external view of the Bessemer converter, whereas the second one is the section of the furnace which is lined by the fire clay brick, which are heat resistant. And students, you can observe the formation of the slag at the top of the reaction mixture. Now let's consider the reactions that are occurring in the Bessemer furnace. Copper sulfide is oxidized to cuprous oxide along with sulfur dioxide vapors. Further, cuprous oxide is reacted with copper sulfide to form elemental state copper and sulfur dioxide, and these products are poured in sand molds, by which the sulfur dioxide vapors escapes and leaves the blisters on its surface, thus forming blister copper, which is nearly 99% pure in nature. Thus students, you can observe the formation of blisters on the surface of the mold because of sulfur dioxide vapors which are escaping out. And the third step is refining of copper metal. And for this students, we are using electrolytic refining process, and various impurities which are present in this copper metal are silver and gold. In this case, we are using electrolytic solution as cupric sulfate and always anode electrode, which is positive electrode. It is made up of impure copper, whereas the cathode electrode, which is negative electrode, which is made as pure copper electrode. And students, From the electrolytic solution, that is cupric sulfate, by the ionization of it, cupric ions are reduced at the cathode rod, that is at the pure copper electrode. By gaining 2 electrons, they form copper, whereas from the anode, copper would be losing 2 electrons to form cupric ions and gets dissociated in the electrolytic solution. And at the anode, we can also observe the formation of the anode mud, which is of impurities. Thus, in this way, student, we can achieve 99.99% of pure copper. Now, students, we can have the summary for extraction of copper from the copper pyrites. The ore which is selected from 5 different minerals of the copper is the copper pyrites. It is concentrated by 4th flotation process. Thus, we are getting concentrated copper pyrite, which is roasted in presence of excess of air to form copper sulfide, followed by smelting process. Thus, we get pure copper sulfide, followed by mesmerization process, which forms impure copper. And finally, students, by using electrolytic refining, impure copper can be purified to 99.99%. Thank you, students. This completes general principle and process of isolation of elements. Thank you.